Welcome to the Empowered Wife podcast, where it's all about fixing your marriage without your man's conscious effort so that you feel desired and taken care of and special, even if your relationship feels completely hopeless. I'm Laura Doyle, and today I'm talking about the top 3 reasons there's no passion in your marriage. My guest, Amira, felt unwanted and stuck in her relationship. No matter what she did, she was never good enough for her husband. She tried the intimacy skills, but things didn't improve much. Then she did something that changed the course of her relationship and her life. And today, she feels just how much her husband wants her to be happy. She's going to tell us what she did so you can do it too. But first, we're going to talk about the 3 reasons there's no passion in your marriage. When that happens, first of all, it's a huge disappointment because that's a big part of the allure of marriage. You vowed to love each other in sickness and in health, partly because you felt so good, feeling so irresistible when he made bedroom eyes or he swept you into his arms and told you how beautiful you are. But when that stopped, it made you wonder if maybe you were not attractive anymore, which feels terrible. Or maybe you thought that this is what marriage is like. It starts out exciting and then the passion just evaporates. You were hoping marriage would be different, but it's not, which is so depressing. Fortunately, those are very likely not the reasons there's no passion in your marriage. Based on my experience of helping thousands of women skyrocket the passion in their marriage again, the passion can come roaring back and you're not stuck with endless celibacy. Here are 3 top reasons that I've seen and experienced myself that there may not be passion in your marriage right now. I'm counting down from the number 3 to the number 1 top reason. So the number 3 reason there's no passion in your marriage is because he misses your joy. If your husband doesn't seem interested in physical intimacy with you, one question to ponder is, have you lost your excitement for life? Have you misplaced your joie de vivre? Maybe you've been pretty serious lately because you have a lot on your mind. It could be that your responsibilities of like raising your kids or trying to raise the bottom line at work or doing both are weighing on you. Maybe you're low on energy because those worthy endeavors take a lot of energy. That's understandable when you're doing so much. But if you're mostly serious or tired and hardly having any fun, that will have a direct impact on physical intimacy in your marriage. Why? Because a big part of the spark between you and your man was fueled by, get this, your happiness. Your happiness. Remember how you used to smile and be excited to see him? He misses that. And I bet you do too. If the look on your face when you see him right now says that you're annoyed with him or that you have looked right past him when he came home, that's going to have the opposite effect of igniting the passion. Sure, it used to be easy to get things sizzling at your house. It's pretty easy to start a fire too when you have fuel, air, and a spark. But take away one of those 3 things and there's no fire. None. The good news is you've got the power to bring back that spark that's missing. It starts with being fun and light because you feel fun and light, which starts with having more fun and laughs. Number 2, reason that the passion has gone missing in your marriage might be that you're helping him too much. You're helping him too much. What if you do bring a lot of fun and lightness to the relationship, and that's not the reason you're feeling like all the passion has left the building? Right. The next question to ask yourself in order to solve the mystery of the missing passion is, have I been too helpful? Have I been too helpful? Maybe you helped with his resume, or you helped him hang up his clothes the right way, or you helped him make his doctor's appointment, or you helped him with how to communicate to the children. You meant well, of course. You saw a way to improve the situation and you volunteered it, which made him see you a smidge less like his lover and a smidge more like his mother, maybe even his smother mother. I know it's unfair because you had the best intentions to help him save money or be more efficient or be a better dad. And that shouldn't cost you in the bedroom. But your instinct to remind him to eat healthier brought to mind someone else who used to do that for him, right? His mom. And since men just aren't sexually attracted to their mothers, being helpful lands like cold water instead of the embers of desire and passion that you're hoping to ignite. So consider letting him handle things that are really up to him to handle anyway, even if you're tempted to help him so that you can go back to being the irresistible magnet that he fell in love with. All right. And the top reason that the passion may have gone missing in your marriage is because he doesn't feel respected. He doesn't feel respected. This is the biggest reason I see for marriages lacking passion. And it's the one that I lived through myself. And boy, is it embarrassing. I got to say, I did not know about the best aphrodisiac on the planet for men. And even if someone had told me that it was respect, I still wouldn't have understood or known what to do. I thought I was respectful, except for the way he dressed and the way he drove and that he was such a slob. So really, I wasn't respectful at all, but I didn't know that I wasn't. I thought I was. I thought I was doing so much for him, but the subtext was clear to him that I didn't think he was capable of doing much for himself, at least not the right way. I was not expecting the best outcome from him. So instead of bringing respect and skyrocketing the passion in the bedroom, I was robbing my husband of oxygen. And I was doing it on a daily basis. And no wonder he was more interested in watching reruns than he was in making love to me. Painful, but not anymore. Now that I know what respect looks like and I treat him as a competent, capable, strong man who can take care of himself and so many things for our family, the passion is better than ever around here. The same can happen in your marriage when you rediscover your sense of fun and joy, you stop being too helpful, and you start respecting the man you married. If you're wondering how to get started with fixing your relationship and making it shiny again, then you need a roadmap. Get 6 simple steps to follow that will set your relationship up for success. Discover 3 common mistakes that wives make trying to fix their relationship that just make things worse when you download my free Adored Wife Roadmap. You can do that at getcherished.com. Go to getcherished.com now to get your roadmap in minutes. My guest, Amira, felt unwanted and stuck in her relationship. No matter what she did, she was never good enough for her husband. She even tried the intimacy skills, but things didn't improve much. Then she did something that changed the course of her relationship and her life. And today, she feels just how much her husband wants her to be happy. She's going to tell us what she did so you can do it too. Amira, welcome to the Empowered Wife podcast. I want to thank you so much for coming on to share your story.
Thank you, Laura, for having me here. I'm delighted to share my story.
Awesome. Well, tell us about what was going wrong in the bad old days.
Bad old days, it was like a lingering fear, and I was trying very, very hard to please my husband, and every action I took, I had this intention that my husband would be happy, he would praise me, or he would smile, or something. Like it was always to kind of get a reaction from him. And if he didn't, then I would get upset and I would pick up a fight with him. And some phases were so bad that I used to dread having weekends and vacations because I, in fact, I remember telling my husband once that I don't like holidays because I know that we're going to have a fight. And it was that bad. Yeah.
You didn't like holidays because it was going to be a fight. So, and you've started to dread them.
Yeah.
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 What
So,
kinds of things were you? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, sorry, you get it.
What kinds of things were you fighting about?
I wanted more time from him. I wanted him to compliment me. I wanted him to notice me. I also used to complain about not having enough physical intimacy. And yeah, I used, and he used to tell me that you're always complaining. And he used to share with me all the things that he did to please me. And he's like, you're still complaining. And I don't know, I was so naive. I used to tell him, yeah, you did these 10 things, but I'm unhappy about these three things. So I had to tell you, otherwise, how would you know? And oh my God, I'm just so embarrassed to share this, but I used to tell him, like, if you fix 10 things, there will be other 10 things that I won't be happy about, and I have to share it because that's how life is. Little did I know that I was killing my relationship. So, yeah, it was all of those things. But I want to take you to this thought, which is the negative story I had in my mind for a very long time. So, my husband and I, we went through a social setting, and it's called an arranged marriage. So where you get to see your prospective, like there's a prospective match, a suitable match, and you get to see each other, you get to talk, and then you can say whether you want to get married or not. And for my husband, he, as soon as he saw me, he told his parents, like, "Yeah, I want to marry this girl." And I was super happy, and we got engaged really quickly. And very soon we fell in love with each other. And he's like, "I love you," and he was doing all these nice things. And one day he shared with me about his ex-girlfriend, and he said he really wanted to marry her, but he had to give up because his parents didn't approve her, and now he's going to marry me, so that he can please his parents. And I believed him, and I came into the marriage with that story in my head that I'm unwanted in his life. He's doing this only to please his parents. And then I started collecting evidence for all of that story, like month after month, year after year. And no matter how much he tried to please me or how much love he was showering, I couldn't see any of that. So it's we've been married for 13 years now. I'm so proud to say that.
How many?
13.
30? Oh, 13. 13.
One, yeah, 13.
13. Okay, gotcha.
13.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, 13 years. But I found you in December 2020. And prior to that, I lived my life with my husband with this story that he doesn't want me. So that's the reason I was feeling unwanted. And because of all the fights and all the efforts I was making with no results, um, as you can see, I was making all the wrong efforts. So obviously there were no results, and there was more mess. So I wasn't getting anything that I wanted in the relationship. And at one point, I was thinking of um, separation. And then I used to look up the internet. We have a son together, beautiful son, and um, so I was looking up the internet to see that how kids are impacted by divorce, and somewhere I read that children can handle the death of a parent, but not divorce of their parents. And so I was thinking of the alternate to divorce. That's, I was suicidal at one point. So yeah,
Wow. That's how much pain you were in.
yeah, yeah,
That's how lonely and sad and hopeless you
yeah,
felt. Oh,
yeah,
awful, awful, Amira. Yeah. Well, it does feel hopeless. I relate to your story so much, right? Trying to, I'm working on the relationship, telling him all the things he should do, and then not getting any results and also feeling hopeless.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So separation was kind of off the table, it sounds like, because you were worried about your son.
yeah, yeah. And so, but I have got really good friends, and they talk me out of it. And they are like, your happiness is very important to us, and we are with you. We're standing with you. So you do what you need to do to make yourselves happy. And if it is like getting out of this marriage, then that was what it is. And any other support you need. So uh, I'm blessed to have such fantastic friends. So that gave me a little bit of hope, and I started doing a lot of things in the background. So I signed up for some religious lectures, and I reached out to a counselor. Not one, actually, I reached out to many counselors, and um, I spent a lot of money as well, and I was doing everything that they taught me to do, and still it was not working. And to a point that um, my husband actually reached out to his ex-girlfriend. So it was one day, all of a sudden, I used this phone because my phone had some problem, and I saw a strange name. When I called up, I found out that it is his ex-girlfriend, and then I assumed that okay, he is having an affair. And I'm saying I assumed because I'll reveal what happened actually. So when I spoke to him, I actually confronted him like, "You're in touch with this person." He denied, and then he said, "I didn't tell you because you wouldn't understand." And I thought that he's blaming me. He's just trying to get out of this. He's making excuses and all of that. But then I told him it's very clear that it's either that person in your life, in whatever capacity, or me. And he chose me, of course. And then I asked him, "So what were you talking about with her? For how long and all that?" So he said, "For about a year or so." And he said, uh, "I wanted to get a female perspective on our marital issues so that I can solve them and I can show up as a better husband." Wow. And now I can say wow because I'm a student of the skills, but back then I'm like, no, I don't believe that. I'm like, uh, you've broken the bond of trust in the marriage. If you really wanted to solve our marital issues, you should have come and spoken to me. And he's like, "But I wanted to fix my side before I come and talk to you about anything." Anything he would say, it would just go past me. I didn't believe him. And he's like, "My main mission in life is to make you happy. I want to bring you a smile back. I noticed that you're not happy even though you look happy on the outside." He was saying all these beautiful things, but I wouldn't believe him. So yeah, it was that bad. And so yeah, I gave him this ultimatum, and he said yeah. And he said, "Give me one more chance. I'll fix this up." And yeah, he's like, "Let's check in a year's time if you still want to continue being with me," and all of it. So it was like we get. Then I told him that we have to do marriage counseling. That's the only way. And he said yes. He said, "That's not my way, but I'll give it a shot if you want it." And then we did an online marriage program. So it's like we go through recorded videos, and the Q&A, and we talk to each other. But it turned out that I had to drag him to those sessions, and I became so resentful because I had to drag him. I'm like, he's not into this, and he doesn't want to fix the marriage. He was just lying, and the same old story again and again. So then I started doing all these online religious lectures. And a good friend of mine, she shared a video of a religious scholar, an Islamic scholar, who was talking about duties and rights of wives and husbands. And in that video, he talks about the first duty of wife, according to Islam, is to be respectful to her husband. And then he mentions that, sisters, if you want to know how to be respectful, I highly recommend Laura Doyle's book, Surrendered Wife. I'm like, what? What is this? I have to check this out. Okay, so as soon as I got off that video, which was about 40 minutes, I googled Laura Doyle's Surrendered Wife. I saw the book. I read one or two of your blogs, and then I ordered the book on Amazon. It was going to arrive in a week, I chose an express delivery, so it arrived within a week. And then, as soon as I got my hands on the book, I started reading it. So I used to drop off my son at school and then go to the local park and sit there and read the book. And it was like I was glued to the book. I could not keep it down. I mean, I I used to skip my washroom breaks, or I I was not even sipping water. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. Every page I turned, I was like, oh my god. And there's so many moments when I cried. There's so many moments when I was laughing. I had to stop like reading and just have a good hearty laugh because everything that you wrote in the book, I could relate to it. And I was like, wow, this is treasure. In fact, that evening I called my sister and I said, I have hit upon a gold mine. So that was the beginning of my connection with you.
So we're a lot alike, it sounds like, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So you were open to something called The Surrendered Wife, which I have to commend you because I think a lot of women are not excited to read that book, but you were.
Yeah.
You're like, that sounds good.
Yeah. I was desperate to fix my marriage, and I'm like, I already spent so much time and effort, and also so many dollars, thousands of dollars with counseling. And this book is like reasonably priced. It can't hurt to read it once. And I'm like, if an Islamic scholar whom I admire so much has recommended, there has to be value in that. And I'm so thankful to that friend of mine who sent me that link. I'm like, the universe sent me this connection to Laura Doyle because the universe knew I needed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that you were so open. What did you start to do differently than you had been doing once you got that information?
Okay, so I was really cheeky at first. I was kind of testing the skills. Okay, so I think one of the first things I started doing was expressing desires and just to test, like, does this work or not? And one day, my husband and I, we had gone to the grocery store to do the milk run before we pick up our son from after school. And so we got the milk and the bread and whatever, we paid for it, checked out. And as we were exiting the grocery store, I saw a bouquet of yellow roses at the entrance of that same store. And I just turned to my husband and I said, beautiful roses. And he's like, one moment. He went and picked up that bouquet. He went inside the store. He was in the queue again to check out, paid for it, came out and gave it to me. And he's like, here you go. Like, wow.
Wow.
Oh my god, skills are phenomenal. I expressed desire and he wanted to make me happy. So he did that whole thing of going into the store again. Like, wow. And I
Yes,
was smiling for days after that. I mean, it's like a banana was stuck in my lips and it
that's right.
cannot
A sideways banana.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Oh,
So you had proof. Oh, he does care about my
yeah.
happiness.
Yeah. So this was within 10 days of me getting my hands on the book for the first time ever. And I think within those 10 days, I had read the book twice. So, so it was proof that the skills were working. So I'm like, okay, now I'm going to take this seriously and put more effort and try to apply the skills. So I did that and it worked for a bit. I think I got the book in November or December and I read it and started applying the skills. Then in Jan was your Adult Wife challenge on Facebook. I joined that and each of the skills started giving me results. So I did self-care because that's one of the first things you say, like do three things that make you happy. And I did three things. So I think I took some time to watch a nice movie, just sitting in the couch on the couch at home, watch a nice movie, not worry about chores or anything. And in after many years, I had enjoyed my tea time. I'm like, wow, this feels so good. Like, why did I do this before? So that was like every skill I did gave me results. And it started kind of snowball effect. So I'm like, okay, I want to do more. I want to do this. I want to do that, and all of those things. So then I started taking my time to enjoy my breakfast. I started taking time to enjoy my coffee. I used to just put on some music and dance while I'm doing the dishes. All those things, yeah. So, yeah, and there were moments where I was like just laughing and giggling all by myself because I was feeling so happy. I'm like, oh, this is so weird. Yeah, nice. So, after the Adult Wife Challenge, I took the next step and I joined the Ridiculously Happy Wife program. Um, that was again a big step for me, and I was there on the program for about 2 to 3 months. And when I came to that program, that that changed the way I looked at myself because I realized that there are a lot of women who are going through this. So up until that point, I was thinking there's something wrong with me, and I have created this mess in my marriage, and I'm so stupid and naive and unlucky and all those negative words. Yeah. So and I was kind of eating worms, as you say. So and whenever that happened, I used to go back to that chapter in the book, like don't eat worms, you can fix it. It's not all is lost. And I had to look for evidence that where I had done something good in my marriage, but I was feeling so ashamed of everything that I had done. So when I came to Ridiculously Happy Wife, I felt like um, I felt uh, accepted. I felt like I belong here. I felt human. I'm like, it's it's okay. I made mistakes, but it just happens. And I love the way the coaches spoke to me. Because like there's so much warmth in the tone. They're so kind. Nobody was calling me out on any of my weaknesses or mistakes. And everyone was like, yeah, it's okay, you're a mere mortal woman. It happens. That was very important for me to hear. Had I not joined that, I think I would have had another breakdown because of how ashamed I was of all the wrong things I had done in my marriage. Um, yeah, so the coaches saved me.
Wow. Beautiful. I love your vulnerability so much. I love hearing that you got to just feel like a human and you weren't alone. And yeah, and that maybe the dial on the shame meter went down.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So this was in 2021, and after I did the Ridiculously Happy Wife program, and throughout that, I had read all the like I'd done all the modules and stuff with which come with that. And I'll be honest, I was still doing the program like academically. So I had to tick off everything. I had to. Um, so I was still doing the program academically, and after 3 months, things were good for a while. This was in 2021, and soon they started going back to the old days. Uh, so much so that last year um, we had we had our good moments. We had lots of good moments, but there were some bad moments. And every time my husband used to come back to like, let's get separated, let's
Oh.
get separated. And I couldn't understand what's happening. And last year in May, um, so every year we have this one very auspicious religious month, which is the month of fasting. And I'm big on religious practices, and my husband was telling me, so he took me shopping for that festival. He got me new clothes, and we had a fight in the car while going and while coming back as well. And then he was telling me like, "You're so religious," and again, not in the soft voice, but then in his angry tone, he was saying, "You're so religious and you practice everything. What about being respectful to your husband?" And I'm like, "What?" that shook me to the core. I'm like, I am being respectful. I mean, I did not say this to him, but then that word respect kind of stayed in my head, and I'm like, okay, I know where to go to. I know how to fix this. So that was the moment when I decided that I'm going back to my community. That's Donatello's community, and this time I'm going to sign up for the diamond program because I realized that um, I need the guidance of a coach who will be with me on my personal journey, where I can share more details, where I can get that specific advice on my specific situation. And it will be like a journey together, not just a crash course. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the moment I decided I'm going to sign up for the diamond program. And I had some money as a safety net because I was on the fence. So, this is the, my bags are ready in a financial way. Like, in case the unfortunate happens, then I have some money to, yeah. So I used that money to sign up for the diamond program. And soon after that episode, my husband was supposed to go on a holiday with his friends. So he went overseas for 2 weeks, and that is when I signed up for diamond. And before he came back, I had at least 2 sessions with my coach, and I was feeling empowered. So when he came back, I was ready with a lot of fresh energy and I think positive energy. And so when he came back, he saw. I mean, he could tell that I'm different, but he wouldn't tell that. Yeah. And I had lots of hope because when I met with my coach for the first time, we created that vision for my marriage. And the very important question, do I want to stay married or not? And I was like, yes, I do. And then I wrote down what all I want for my marriage. I want fun, happy times. I want a big family home. I want to have more kids. I want to get my husband's attention. I want to get compliments from him. I want to be uh, the love of his life and all those things. Yeah. And I want to have a good balance of my a good balance in my work and family life. Yeah. So I had written down all those things, and yeah, we started working through the biggest pain areas one by one with my coach. So this was I started my diamond journey last year, May, and it's been phenomenal. Like if, in some of the first sessions, I used to cry a lot, but after that, as and when I started practicing the skills, and like every session, I used to be delighted to share with my coach what's going well. I did this, I did that, and it's really working. So, yeah. I think getting the coach was the best gift I gave to myself and to my marriage.
I love so much that you used your getaway money, really, your separation money, your divorce money stash. Instead of divorcing or separating, you invested in a private Gloria Doyle coach to get you to the next level in your marriage, which is very courageous. That must have been scary to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
And then you showed up to those coaching calls, and it sounds like at first you were just hurting and sad and still maybe probably afraid that you were going to be feeling undesired and unloved forever and ever. And then after a
yes,
while, you became empowered. You started showing up to these sessions, talking about what was going well. Your husband came back from those 2 weeks, and he must have noticed something was different already.
yeah.
And so what do you think? What if you had to draw the differences? Because you started practicing self-care right after you got
Yeah,
the book, right? So
yeah.
how was it different for you? What was different after you got a coach from?
Um, uh, there were so many blind spots, and the coach helped me uncover those blind spots. Not just uncover, but also how do I work through those areas? So one of the biggest, I think this is the biggest transformation in my life to date. So out of all the education and professional training and everything that I've done, all my life experiences, the biggest transformation for me is to realize that I have my own paper, which is huge. I'm like, wow, so I can be a fully functional human being as a whole, all on my own. I didn't know that I had an individual identity. So, I'm so glad that I found I found myself through this diamond program. And so once, and I'll be honest, when I first started doing the diamond program and practicing the skills, it was still to fix my marriage, to get a positive response from my husband. So there's still that, underlying expectations, the control. So,
Right.
yeah,
Me
but
too.
by yeah, in fact, I used to measure my success of practicing the skills by way of his responses. So, is he responding this way, that way? No, which means I'm not practicing the skills right. That's like, no, no. My coach helped me realize, no, that's not the parameter. It's about how you feel about yourself, how you show up. And the more we started looking at me uh, as a person, that is where the real transformation happened. So, um, I realized there's so many parts about me that I didn't love. And with self care, I started loving myself. So, self care is first, I didn't get it right because I was doing things to. Okay, sorry, even before that, when I had to first just, put down a list of things that I enjoy, I didn't know because I never focused on what I like. I was always trying to please my husband. So then I just picked up some random things like enjoying a cup of coffee because that's what's written on the internet. Like have a cup of coffee, do yoga, talk to a friend, go for a walk. So I wrote down those things, just some ideas from the internet, and I started practicing them. Some of those gave me joy, some of those didn't. And then I started focusing on, okay, what are the ones that are working? That is when I realized the magic of self care. So anything that brings you joy, that makes you smile, that makes you feel good about yourself, about your life, that is self care. So it doesn't have to be yoga, it doesn't have to be reading a good book. It could be like just watching, binge watching TV or watching something on repeat or um, putting your t-shirt upside like the outside in, yeah, or, or having a big spoon of Nutella directly from the container.
Definitely good self-care.
Yeah, yeah. So anything that makes me laugh or smile without, uh, anyone else telling me that you look happy or you're doing good or anything. So, not needing any external validation and still feeling good. I think that is self care.
Wow. Wow, so wise. I love that, Amira. So you were doing a different kind of self-care. There was a whole new flavor to it, uh,
Yeah.
in the new way. So, how did your husband respond to this? It sounds like joyful, Amira.
Yeah. Um, at first, I was scared of doing self care because I thought my husband would call me out on that. And um, I think I would say my husband's response is not saying anything. So whenever I said that I'm going for a massage, he's like, okay. I would say that I'm going to bed early. This is what is planned for our son's dinner. Can you please ensure he has his dinner? And he used to say, okay. So I think all of those okays and no complaints afterwards uh, is is his way of responding. Like he knew that this is something that I want to do. It's helping me, just giving me that space. Um, yeah.
So you never heard
Um,
the criticism you expected from doing that, it sounds like.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
You.
most of the things, no. Yeah. But when okay, so self-care plus relinquish control. So relinquish control was the big one for me. Uh, and as I mentioned, that for the first time ever, I found out that I have a paper of my own. Because before that, I was like, oh, I was all on his paper. I was a shadow. I was tied to him by the hip. And like for me to enjoy, we have to watch movies together. I would like to have a family dinner. So everything was about me and him. And someone told that even if I was doing things on my own, I used to send him pictures just to get a positive response from him. So,
Oh,
uh,
right.
my coach helped me realize that I have to stay on my paper. The more I stayed on my paper, and um, initially it was difficult because my paper was blank. Then I started filling it up. I started putting in things what I want to do in the day, and uh, after that, the next level was how do I make my life more fun filled. So how do I make my surroundings more pleasing? And I started, focusing more on the things that I want. So, for example, even my office space, how do I want that to look? And I wanted a nice, colorful rug. And I told my husband that I want a nice, colorful rug for my home office. He's like, okay, let's go and get it. So we went and we go. Yeah, that's amazing. Like how happy he wants. Yeah, how much happy he wants to make me. So we went to the store, and for 3 hours we were checking out all the different stores. We went back to the first store because I had liked something over there. So we went to the first store, and the lady started packing the rug that I had first selected. And when my husband was about to pay, they're doing all the paperwork and all. And I just glanced around the shop, which is a habit of mine. And I'm like, actually, wait, don't pay for that. I think I'd like another one. So I asked the lady, like the shopkeeper, to show me the other one. And she opened it. And I told my husband, yes, that's the one I want to get. And he's like, okay, we swap. That's it. Yeah. So these are some of the evidences how much happy he wants to make me. And yeah, it
Lots of
was working.
evidence. That's proof.
Yeah.
That's proof. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. So, and what about but what is your marriage like now?
How it is, it's I don't have words, but it's it's pure bliss. So my marriage is so good. It has never ever been like this. In fact, my life has never ever been like this. I haven't been happier than this yet at any point in my life. So and my marriage is beautiful because my husband has started, started flirting with me. So he does, like, yes, yesterday morning we ran out of sugar. So he made his coffee, and I told him, look, there's one last sachet of coffee that's for our, picnics and outings. So I told him you can use that in the, it's in the pantry. And he's like, how about you dip your finger in my coffee? And I was like, that's cheesy. Yeah.
Sweeten it up. You want to do sweetness in his coffee? So cute. Amira.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So it's almost like this is like when you first fall in love. These are the kinds of things that people
Yeah.
say to each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it's like at your house now.
Yes.
Wow. And
And
what
he's
about
been.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, no, you're good.
What about the fighting? There was a lot of fighting before. How is it now? How much do you fight now?
Uh, I will have to mark the date on the calendar when we fought last. It must have been like months ago. So there is no fighting.
Mm.
Sometimes we do have arguments, but I'm very conscious that I don't want to be disrespectful. So I don't want to be shouting and my tone and all of those things. So I'm doing it in a sneaky way, like we We fight over text messages. So at least the tone is not, yeah, the shrill voice is not there, the shouting is not there, and you get some pauses in between, which allows you the time to recover if you really want to recover. So,
Right.
yeah, but there's no more shouting and there's no more fights. Actually, I was doing some a lot of negative behavior as well. So previously, whenever we fought, I used to go and sleep in our son's room for a few days until I calmed down, and then go back to our bedroom. And my husband, he's such a nice guy. He never complained. He just gave me that space to recover. But
Mhm.
I realized that that's very disrespectful, and so I made this decision that no matter what, even if we argue, that's no reason to create distance. And I made that decision. And since then, I make it a point that I am staying in our bedroom, like, just to show that we are in this together. Because I realized that I was the one walking away, not him. So, yeah. So when I started focusing on showing up respectfully to my husband, my behaviors changed, my thought process changed, and even if we have an argument, I realized really soon that um, it's in those arguments there are things that he is saying from the heart. Um, like the other day, I wanted to do something, and he's like, no, you're not able to do your exercises on a regular basis. You're not able to cook healthy meals that you want to cook for our son, and all those things. And I was so angry. I replied like, you are focusing on all the things where I'm falling short. And that was the end. But after a while, I sent him an apology. I said, I'm sorry for being disrespectful, for talking back to you, something like that. And he's very sweet, he's very forgiving. He always immediately replies, okay, all good. And I sat on that for a week, and then I realized he was actually saying that you already got enough on your plate. If you take up this one more thing, you're going to be burnt out. So I think it's because of my coach that I have started looking for these heart messages. And had I not had the support and guidance of my coach, I would have missed all these heart messages.
He was trying to
In
protect
fact,
you from being too busy, from getting overwhelmed
yeah,
or from
yeah,
and getting unhappy. He was protecting your happiness.
yeah.
Ah,
And I want to share some of the big, big wins that I had because of this program. One is, of course, as I mentioned, I found myself. I started loving myself, which I'd never done in my life before. I realized that I'm an individual on my own, which I didn't realize before this. The other one is that I started my marriage with this negative story in my head that I'm unwanted in his life. When I shared this with my coach, and then she said, okay, what would you like it to be? Then I mentioned that I want to be loved and cherished, and I want him to want me. And she's like, okay, let's start looking for the evidence. So, and we started looking for evidence in the past, okay? So, the, and then I told my coach that very early on in our marriage, my husband said that he wants our graves to be next to each other. And my coach helped me understand that that means being together forever. It's like beyond death. He wants to be with me. I'm like, oh my god. I was seeing all this with the wrong glasses. I never realized his heart message.
beautiful, beautiful. Now, and so
Yeah.
you've got this new pair of spectacles now, and you can hear
Yes.
You can feel his love.
Yeah, yeah. And even the OW, so the moment when I found out that he was in touch with his ex, and I assumed that he was being unfaithful. So, and I held this resentment for really long. But recently, um, I was listening to one of the um, stories. I think it was Rebecca's or Stella's, where you mentioned that the OW is a distraction. So I started looking at it from that point of view, the OW is distraction. Then I started focusing on everything that my husband did before that, even when he was in touch with that person. Um, and after that, soon after, like I confronted and we had the big blow up, and he said, "Give me 1 more year and I'll fix it." When I put all the pieces together, I realized there is so much evidence that he was not being unfaithful to me. He was trying to improve our marriage. Even in the conversations with her, it was all about me. How can he please me? And when I accused him of being unfaithful, I'm so ashamed to say that, but yeah, that's what it looked like. But instead of getting angry with me, that how could you blame me of something like that? How could you be so disrespectful? He was actually trying to convince me otherwise.
Mm.
He 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 was like he was taking time out to spend time with me, and he used to talk to me for hours and hours. He's like, tell me everything that you have in your on your mind, in your heart, and I can help you uh, overcome all those insecurities. I can help you clear all those misunderstandings. He, he tried a lot to convince me that he loves me and he wants us to be together.
Wow.
That only now that I'm open to seeing things through that lens, thanks to you, Laura, and to my coach, I'm able to receive all of
Wow.
that love. And yeah,
So I don't it's a beautiful thing because I think most women would say, well, I have the right to accuse him of being unfaithful. If I catch on his phone he's talking to his ex-girlfriend, of course it's my right to ask
yeah,
these things. And I hear you saying you feel ashamed that you did that, but I think this is a very common conception that it's your right. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but not you don't feel that way
So
anymore.
no, I don't feel that way, and I feel like I'm married to a man who has a very big heart and he's very forgiving to let go of something like this in an instant and try to make his wife happy. I'm most blessed woman on earth.
Wow, beautiful.
So I realized this last month because of all the work I had been doing with my diamond coach, So it takes a while to get to this point. Uh, and last month, when I realized this, I sent him a text message. I'm still embarrassed to apologize in person, so I usually send him a text message and I said, I apologize for being disrespectful when I assumed that you were being unfaithful, and I tried to control whom you talk to. And then I wrote, I trust you. He did not respond to that message, but after a few hours, he called me up and he said, um, let's go to the beach tomorrow to see the sunrise. And that was like a date. So we woke up early in the morning and we were like out of the door at 4:30 a.m. He took me a beautiful spot. Uh, like it was on top of a cliff to see the sunrise over the horizon. And it was I think, one of the most beautiful moment in our marriages so far.
Beautiful. You created that intimacy. I give you all the credit for that, Amira, that you created that moment, one of the most beautiful moments in your marriage so far by finding the humility and the courage to apologize for that an old wound, old
Yeah,
disrespect.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and
So
it
it's no
sounds,
longer
go ahead, it's no longer.
it's no longer standing in the way of my marriage, because when I first found the diamond program, and I was practicing the skills and things were working, I still had this itch in my heart. I'm like, why did it have to be this way? Why did we have to go through that bad phase, or all those, why this, why that, why did it happen to us? And now, thanks to you and my coach, that that I realized that it's it's not true. It was only me looking at it with the wrong glasses, and I would have totally missed this, and I would have lived a miserable life um, with this misunderstanding had I not found you. So, thanks to you.
So I think I hear you saying you're grateful for that breakdown. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Wow. Right? Who would have thought? Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
how has all this affected your son?
Ah, our son, I think I have become a lot softer with him and more fun to be around. So uh, he comes to me every now and then with a lot of demands. Mom, play with me. Mom, look at me. Mom, let's do this. Let's do that. So I think I've become a more safe place for him. And more enjoyable. Yeah, I've become like his fun partner. Uh,
So there's more joy in that relationship and more intimacy there too.
yeah, yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
that's nice. That's as a mom, I think that's something
yeah,
every mom dreams to have
yeah.
children. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. There's there's one more thing that I want to share, and this is another one that I would have totally missed for all my life had it not been for the skills. Um, this is the very early days of our marriage. So within a few months, we had an unplanned pregnancy, and um, my husband said that we don't have enough finances to support a child right now, and so the alternative back then was for couples who had, children when they were not financially well. They used to send their kids overseas to their parents to look after the child, or the husband would stay and he would send the wife and the child to her parents so that they can be looked after while he's making money. And yeah, that was the alternate. So my husband said, like, we don't, we can't afford a child right now, and it was like really early, like it was pretty early in the conception, and so he said we're not going ahead with this, and so I did, and I mean I didn't agree, but we did what he suggested, and it was very painful for me, and I lived with this pain for many many years. What I now realize, because of the skills, is that it's not about right or wrong. It's he loved me so much that he didn't want to send me away. So he was doing everything to keep me with him.
And this was your desire from the beginning was to feel wanted, to feel loved, to
Yeah,
feel desired, cherished.
yeah, yeah,
And it's been there all along.
yeah,
And now and now you can enjoy it. Now you can
yes,
celebrate it.
yes.
Wow. Amazing. Beautiful. Congratulations on your incredible transformation. Not
Thank
just
you.
fixing your marriage, but really discovering yourself, loving yourself,
Yeah,
finding your life.
yeah.
And it sounds, I mean, it doesn't sound like you want to separate, it doesn't sound like you want a divorce, it doesn't sound like you want to, that suicidal thoughts are a struggle anymore.
I don't know. It's so different. Like my husband is talking about going overseas for a holiday like twice a year. So he's been planning all those things, and he's been talking about romantic getaways, like just the two of us without our son. So he keeps saying now our son is old enough that we can leave our son with the grandparents or with the aunt, and that just the two of us can go. So in his conversations, it's about two of us spending romantic time together. And for me, all the resentment has melted away, it has vanished, and I feel like a free person. I feel like a newborn who gets to enjoy life every day.
Wow. You you have a contagious smile and laugh and joy just emanating off of you. So I see it. I see it on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
What's your tip for someone though who is where you were, where she's found his phone and he's communicating with someone he shouldn't be, and she feels like the marriage is irreparably harmed, and she's thinking about separation or suicide, and she wants what you have, where he says, "Just put your finger in my coffee. Let's go look at the sunset tomorrow."
Okay.
Here's all these yellow roses because you said you liked them.
Yeah. Uh, I tell you, after that yellow roses, I had bouquets in my house like every week. Just because he went to the grocery store, he's like, I picked up these flowers because I thought you liked them. And then it was pink and purple and white and all sorts of colorful roses. Yeah. So to someone who was at a position who is at a position where I was, um, I would say that you have married a wonderful man and believe that, and he wants he wants to make you happy. You just need a little bit of support to see things differently. So it's it's like your glasses have fog on them. You just need someone's help to clear it up. And
Oh,
it's that simple. Trust me. Like I mean, yeah, first it'll feel hard because it's change. So when you change the way you think, that change is going to be slightly difficult, but otherwise everything else is easy. Even the skills are easy and the results are phenomenal. I mean, you get so much more than what you had ever dreamt of. Uh, like, yeah, you will be surprised to all the love that you find around you from your husband, from your environment. And like me, I've found golden nuggets in my story, like throughout my married years, which I overlooked. So it's like just have that courage to take the first step, reach out for a coach, be open. That's all you need. Just have an open mindset and have faith. Yeah, you'll be fine.
oh, I love it. Well, and what do you think you'd say to Amira if you could go back in time and tell her what you know now? What would you say?
Uh, okay, so I would say, um, hmm, find Laura as soon as you can. It's be authentic. Your husband loves the real you. If you are not being authentic, you are depriving him of the chance to give you what you really want. Uh, yeah, and actually, that's one of the bonuses I received from being on this program because I signed up for being happy and showing up respectfully. And I didn't know that in that process I will get to be authentic. So now I'm my authentic self with my husband, with everyone around me, yeah, with my in-laws, at my workplace, everywhere. So if I'm tired, I do say I'm tired. If it's
Yeah.
an I can't, I say I can't. If I miss, if I'm missing someone, I just say I miss you. Yeah. So, and life is so easy now, and there's lots of happiness every day. In all the things here. We do have other times where uh, there's something that I have said which wasn't respectful, but now I'm not afraid because I know I can easily correct it, and it's yeah, apologize. And my husband is big heart. He's always forgiving. He's always forgiving.
Yeah.
Uh, Actually, amongst all of the things that I had written with my coach, like my vision for my marriage, there was one that where I said I want more balance in my work and personal life, and I told my husband like I want to reduce my working hours so I get sufficient time with our son while he's growing up, and he said okay, if that's a fit for you. So I spoke to my workmates, and we now have this arrangement where I'm working part time and I get to do the mornings with my son, I get to do the evenings with our son, and it's fantastic.
Wow.
So my vision has come true.
So all the things that you set out as your desires when you first met with your coach, it sounds like you've created all those things.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Maybe beyond what you even imagined.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, there's one more that is like it has been a game changer for me. Um, Sorry, there's so much that I have gained from this program that I want to share it. Like the skill of gratitude, expressing gratitude. So at first it was all about I'm going to express three gratitudes a day because Laura said it. So I used to say thank you for this, thank you for that, and it was like I was just saying it, but not really coming from the heart. And one of the coaches invited me to um, share like when I say thank you, how about I add what it meant for me? Okay, so I started doing that, and slowly and gradually I realized, wow, that is so powerful. For example, at first I remember this that I was on a group call with master coach Kathy, and I was telling her, why do I have to thank my husband for doing the vacuum cleaning? Because it's his house as well. And if I was away, like if I was on a work trip for 2 weeks, he is going to clean the house. He's going to do the vacuum cleaning. So it's not that he's doing it for me. So why should I thank him? And she was like, yeah, it's your choice. You get to decide whether you want to thank him or not. But how about you think like, what if he did not do that? Then what? Then I told her, then I would have to do it. So she's like, okay, so how about you put that in a way of expressing gratitude? So I said, thank you for doing the vacuum cleaning. So I get some time to myself to take an extra long shower or watch some TV. And when I added that bit, like what it means for me or what it gives me, that was the game changer. That is when the gratitude started coming from the heart. So nowadays I'm like, thank you for picking up our son. That means I get some time after work to wind down. Thank you for
Oh,
getting the groceries. That means that I don't have to step out of the house to get such and such thing. So yeah, it's phenomenal. I can when I look at my previous self, I'm like, oh my god, how stupid I was. I was like, why should I thank him?
well, you sound so wise now. So, and he must feel, your husband must feel so successful as a husband who makes his wife happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
uh, I can just feel it because he's more playful with our son. He is he started becoming, as I mentioned, flirtatious with me.
Ah,
He's yeah, he is taking the time out to spend time with us as a family, and he feels safe to share whatever when that like whatever happened at work, whether it went well or it didn't go well, he is sharing with me what the boys are talking in their WhatsApp group. So it's like, okay, he feels he feels safe around me, and
Yeah,
I
you
feel
created
connected. We feel
emotional
like
safety.
family. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. This really something. What you've done. What a night and day difference from where you were to where you are now. I know how much courage that takes and commitment and yeah, and vulnerability and authenticity. And you've done all that. So well done. I'm so impressed and inspired to get to hear your story. Thank
Thank
you so much.
you. I would like to thank you and all the amazing coaches. There's magic. There's magic in this program,
Yes.
and this is the best gift I have given to myself and to my family. Had it not been for your community, Laura, I, I don't know. I don't even want to think what would have happened here.
Right.
So
Yeah.
thank you. Keep doing the amazing work. Okay. And all the ladies who are struggling in any shape or form, I would say, just get onto this program. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much, Amira.
You're welcome.
If you'd like to be my guest on the Empowered Wife podcast and share about how you fixed a struggling relationship using the 6 intimacy skills, I would love to interview you. Just go to lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest to let me know that you are willing to make a big contribution to ending world divorce by telling your relationship story. I look forward to meeting you. That's lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest. Listen and subscribe to the Empowered Wife podcast. Next week, I'll answer the question, why does my husband watch porn? In the meantime, I hope you're having lots of fun. Today's fun fact is that I went in about my ankles being sore and stiff for volleyball, and they asked, do you wear ankle braces? Or do you ice them after the game? Do you stretch? And I was like, why are you shaming me right now?